towards or can't remember, something like that.
Okay, whatever. I don't know.
You want out of here?
Yeah, I have to do the board thing.
The board thing.
Board thing.
Seems far too high. Okay.
This is really going to annoy me. I don't know why it's blurry.
Well, because we're moving so fast.
I tried changing
Your screen
all the
is like
outputs.
dirty as fuck, dude.
I know. I tried changing it to all the output settings. And I couldn't do anything.
You guys yell at people on your Ustream? Do you have a way of checking that?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Ustream keeps track of it.
Oh, does it? Okay.
I might have to go back to the old system.
You may want to invest in like wipes, man.
It's gonna annoy me though.
What, the blurriness? But what's important is our voices.
Not for Ustream.
All about the voices. Well, oh well.
Is this for Josh? What Josh has made off of his voice.
Yeah.
It's the money
All
maker.
about the voice.
That's the money maker for Josh.
It's the deep voice, man. It's all about it.
Yeah, I think you could get a ride to the game if you want.
What?
Well, I know you would want. I don't know who wouldn't want that.
You mean don't carry the Comrex in
No,
like a
that's
negative
okay.
20 wind chill?
That's okay. I'll just walk through the, let's walk through the wind.
Nah, you know, we want to walk into it.
Just to prove that you're dedicated.
At least it's
True
not.
dedication.
At least the flurries are as bad as they were earlier.
Yeah, but the
Like,
wind sucks.
The wind, it's like icy right now.
Yeah. I
Like,
pulled
I
my
think-
hood like all the way in.
The wind chill.
You guys are still using,
The wind chill's got
Brad's
It's like
promotion?
negative 20 or 30.
He's
I'm
not even
in
here
charge
anymore,
of
is he?
it. No.
Still using. Oh.
Brad's promotions? Well, like, I mean, just the KAOR station navigation.
I'm sure we have stuff on our air that Joe said.
But
Like, that's how outdated our system is.
we still have Jerry saying the station
Oh,
ID.
I meant
Really?
Jerry. I said his brother for some reason. Close enough. Let's see. Partly cloudy conditions, 33 mile per hour winds. Flurry time with a low of 7. Yeah.
You guys really don't care what time you start, do you?
You know, I do, but I was trying to fix the camera and
We've started like a half hour late on shows tonight.
No way.
only on the
On
music
the
show.
stored wave.
Only on the music
Can't
show.
get
And
the
that's
system to
because
work like half the
nobody-
weeks.
It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. Okay, that wasn't my.
Feels like -6 outside. I think it feels a little colder.
That's about right.
Saturday's supposed to be decent though.
Sunday's supposed to be like 50s, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sunday's nice.
Looking forward to that, but Saturday got to carry the Comrex again, so I don't really, not especially looking forward to that one. It's not too bad. It's just like when you walk into the snow right in your face.
Yeah, when those was coming in from the
That's-
sides. And this all happened at once, too. It was
Oh,
like
yeah.
kind of calm, and then, well, it was windy.
I don't know.
But then
Yeah, it
all
was
of a
windy,
sudden,
but
it
then
was
the
a
snow came.
hit.
But when I only had one class today. When I left for class, it was about 10:40. Okay, perfectly fine outside. I mean, kind of chilly, but
Mhm.
perfectly fine. Leaving class, full on blizzard.
Yeah.
Full on blizzard. Walking straight into it, going to McFadden.
And all my
Hey,
classes
Victoria,
were
you think this will
short,
pick up
so I was
like that?
walking all over the place.
Probably.
I've never tried that before. It probably would, though, wouldn't it?
Probably.
We just need, like a heavier
Just like
bar.
just hold like Mr.
In this corner,
Editor.
We just need, like, a heavier bar so this thing would stay down. It's just the thing is there's nothing. You
Yeah,
need something,
it's
like, weigh it
not-
down.
That's not my job, man. I can't help you. I really can't. I'm not in charge of
Who's in
that.
charge of making sure that things move?
Don Harris. So techie.
We love you, Don. For all the other things you do.
Right.
He does a lot of other stuff though. Does anybody else find it weird that people are like flipping shit about Greg Oden now? Does he had one dunk?
He's back.
First time playing in a regular season game since 2009. First touch gets a dunk. Woo!
He's very talented. He's just never healthy.
Exactly.
He just cannot stay healthy. I don't know what it is.
He's always had injury problems as long as
And they took him over Durant. I don't know.
Well, at the time,
At the
it's like we need a marquee center. That was the whole thing.
And that was a little bit. It wasn't before freshmen were huge, but
They were both freshmen.
yeah. But like, I don't know. It was just more of a.
I don't know. It's taking.
Senior
I think
thing.
the positional thing came into it a lot.
Everyone goes for big men when.
Oh yeah.
They're
When there's a choice of like a big man who's really good and could be really really good, or a like small forward that could be really really insanely good. Usually they go with a big man. Because like those small forwards come along a little more often than really quality big men.
Yeah, but now the game's going away from big men.
Especially with the Heat thing.
The Heat can do
but there's counter movements though.
If they got Bynum,
the Pacers. The Pacers are basically counter movements.
Yeah.
Bynum I think is washed up.
You don't think
Bynum's a
he
washed
didn't
up
do terrible
punk.
when
That's
he
what
was
is.
in with Cleveland.
He was a washed up punk. He doesn't have the drive. He doesn't have the drive. You need that drive if you're gonna be good.
So if the Heat had a big man like Bynum, if he plays hard.
Well, they just play Bosch at the 5 and it works.
Yeah.
Most
But
of
Bosch had
a lot of
trouble
them
with
play
Hibbert.
extra.
He has trouble with Hibbert.
Oh yeah, most people have problems with Hibbert.
Yeah.
Hibbert's 7'2".
Yeah.
He's a big guy.
So is
but
Bynum.
the Heat.
Oh, Odin could.
The Heat would be better off if they could find a center at some point, because then they wouldn't have to keep playing fill-in small forwards. Because they can just like do whatever the hell they want. Basically, they've started Rashard Lewis in some games. By all rights, Rashard Lewis should not be starting games at this point. Basically, they're just throwing in Rashard Lewis. They used to put Battier in there. They'll just like start whatever random guards they come across.
Are all the big three free agents this year or next year?
They can opt out of their contracts this year.
All of them?
All 3 of them. Yep, they all got that opt out. That being said, suppose at least what I figure is going to happen is Wade will not opt out. Wade will keep going because he's not going to make more money. He's going to get more money in his contract. And James and Bosch will opt out, and James will probably stay, but Bosch might go somewhere else.
Do you think Bosch might leave?
If Bosch stays, he'll have to take a decent pay cut. This is the way I figured it. But
Maybe he wants to
still,
be the star, or at least the second option.
I don't think he wants to be
somewhere.
a star. I think he likes being able to hide behind all that. And that's the only way he can win. But at the same time, he's not a star. He's not the star. He's a really good player, but he's not the star. That being said, money comes into it a lot. I don't know. The Heat, I mean, as much as they don't want to, they do have to recognize the luxury tax.
Yeah.
Everybody has, well, except for the Nets. The Nets don't have to recognize the luxury tax.
Why don't the Nets?
Prokhorov.
Oh.
And welcome here to Make Your Points. I'm your host, Victoria Harmony. With me, regular host Josh Earl, as well as 2 special guests because we're just starting the semester off right. We have James Hagedorn and Zane Frederick.
Word up.
Hello.
Why is Josh here? I didn't know Josh was on this show.
Yeah, it's like I'm never here.
Are you a special guest this week,
I
Josh?
know, right?
Okay.
It'd be so weird if I just like disappeared for a long time. Be like, special guest. Hey, guess who's back?
He's back.
Yeah. No, it's good to be back after the long break though. Albeit I was on a show on Monday, but close enough.
Close enough.
Good to come and talk
We
sports.
haven't been in the station, though. We did a live show.
Oh yeah,
We
that's
were in
true. We did a remote in the muck. But it's totally different. I mean, we get to talk sports in here.
Yay.
I'm a little more of a fan of talking sports than talking music.
Even though we couldn't hear the music. That was an
Yeah,
interesting
that was the weirdest thing.
So you
Like,
couldn't hear what was playing?
No.
the most interesting thing to me was just bugging people in the muck. Like that was the most fun of it.
Yeah. He made horse noises and all the girls walked by.
Yeah,
It was
when
kinda
girls
cool.
will walk by, I made an experiment because I can do that.
Why would you?
Why not? Is the
Why
better
not?
question.
Because I was bored. So it's like girls are going by. I'm just gonna do this. I mean, yeah. I think only one person looked. So.
Mm.
Oh, well.
So, how have your breaks been? I've seen one of you since break, so fill me in.
Was that not me?
That was you, or one of the ones that I'm asking.
I don't know. I had a really good break. Went to a couple hockey games. out in Rapid City, so that was fun. And watched a lot of sports. Bowl season, so had to watch that. But yeah, it was good. Saw a lot of family, so yeah, but good to be back.
James, how about you?
It was a great break. Back in Texas, a whole lot warmer than it was here. It was always 50s or 60s, so coming back to this is kind of this weather. Coming back to this weather is kind of a downer, but I guess get the radio season started up again. It's always fun.
Indeed
I'll
it
talk
is, and we have plenty to cover depending on how this goes. We have to end our show a little bit early today due to the basketball games, so it's going to be about an hour and a half.
It's really awesome. We saw this coming like a mile away too, but it still bugs us that pretty much every year they have games like every Thursday night here.
And
Because
to be fair,
can't have any other night.
we do have a better time this year than we did last year. 5 to 7 works a lot better than 6 to 8.
That is absolutely true.
So
It's like we would
can
have
at
like
least have
half-hour
our
shows.
But since a lot of things happened over break over this past month, this is probably mainly going to be a football-oriented show, much like we ended last year with a football-oriented show. So ending the year and starting 2014 was Football Black Monday occurred, and there were also a few firings that didn't happen on Black Monday for NFL.
And there were a few firings even before Black Monday.
I said there was some that didn't happen on Black Monday. So
Oh, I thought you were talking to people that didn't get fired.
no,
Yeah.
but I think
Some people kept their jobs
There
and probably
was,
shouldn't
a total, was it 7 or 8? The final count.
8, I think.
I think with Munchak
I
it
think
was
it was
8.
8.
I think so. I think it was 8. But regardless, almost 10 firings. Pretty big firing season this year. There was another Black Monday. I think it was 2 years ago. It was 5 or 6. People made a big deal out of that. And this year it's just like, we're gonna fire everybody else. So we will start off and try to hit all the teams we can. See if you agree with the replacements, and if not. The first one I have down, and this isn't in any specific order, it's just what I wrote them down in, quite honestly. So, Lions fired Schwartz, and the replacement is Jim Caldwell, who was formerly a coach with the Colts and the Ravens. Do you agree with the firing of Schwartz? And do you...
Jim Schwartz, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Jim Schwartz.
Mhm.
And do you like the replacements of Jim Caldwell?
Yeah, actually. Pretty much the Lions have all this talent and everything like that, but I felt like their main problem, especially with Schwartz, was discipline.
Mhm.
Discipline and basically, acting like professional men on the football field and off the football field. And Schwartz obviously wasn't getting the job done there. Caldwell comes in. He's got history with, especially I think of him with the Colts, especially. He's got history of being a little tighter on discipline. I think it'll be a good new start for them.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really agree with the firing. I kind of thought Jim Schwartz was good for that team, and the record wasn't showing it, but I thought he was doing a good job with the team, and he had some guys that were having off years. Matthew Stafford was having an off year, injuries and all that kind of stuff. To me, it was kind of a typical season for a lot of teams where you get hit by the injury bug and things start to slide and you don't pull it out in the end. But it was kind of disappointing for their team that they didn't take advantage of the fact that Aaron Rodgers was hurt most of the year and the Vikings weren't very good and things like that. I do, there was justification behind his firing, but I thought, the success he's had in the past, with the team and with developing Calvin Johnson and Matthew Stafford and some of their younger guys on defense and things like that. But Jim Caldwell, I think, is a great replacement. I personally didn't think Jim Caldwell should have been fired from Indianapolis a while ago either. He had one bad year, and the rest of the years were pretty good. And he was a very popular coach in Indianapolis, and so I think this is a great hire for them. In the media, it's been kind of portrayed as, well, they settled on Jim Caldwell, and I don't really see it that way. I see it as that's a good pickup for them, a good veteran guy that's going to, like Josh said, is going to bring in some discipline and kind of curb some of their problems there, and hopefully bring in a system that works for Matthew Stafford and gets Calvin Johnson the ball as much as possible, and then also kind of helps develop some of their guys on defense, some of the younger guys like Nick Fairley and guys like that. So I think it's a good replacement with Jim Caldwell, but I think Jim Schwartz also deserved another shot.
Yeah, for me, it all goes, like both of you said, it comes down to discipline. And clearly, that team was not very disciplined after countless dirty plays and fines. And just to control, maybe it was in the locker room, I don't know, because they had the division lead. Aaron Rodgers was out. Jay Cutler was out. The Vikings were in the discussion. and then they still couldn't find a way to finish in a very winnable division this year. This year should have been the year for the Lions, but they just didn't capitalize, and you could partly blame that on coaching. And Jim Caldwell is a great fit, I think. A lot of people thought Wisenhunt was going to go there, but he ended up not going. We'll talk about him later. But Caldwell did make it to a Super Bowl with the Colts, and yeah, he lost the Super Bowl, but just after 2 or 3 years, they had him out of there. So I don't know. I think it's a good fit for the Lions, and he's a great quarterback mentor and coach. So Matthew Stafford will definitely benefit from that, because Stafford mechanically seems to be getting worse year after year. He goes more and more to that sidearm motion, which is okay for some throws, but he's doing it more and more. So maybe Caldwell will really settle that whole situation down.
All right, moving on to coach number 2, and this is actually tied with the general manager as well. The Buccaneers fired Schiano and general manager Mark Dominic. The replacement coach has been announced as Lovie Smith, who was formerly with the Bears, and the GM has yet to be decided. But the favorite is Lionel Vital. Is that how you say his name?
Who?
Vital?
Yeah, I believe that's it.
I'd
Yeah.
have to see it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's the favorite for the GM. So obviously he's not very popular with you guys because you don't know who he is, except Zane. Zane's the overachiever.
I don't really know a
You get
whole lot
points.
of GM guys. Really.
I don't
Do
know
you
him. I just know how to pronounce
agree
his name.
with the firing of Schiano, who was, let me pull it up, 11-21 in 2 seasons with Tampa Bay, and the hiring of Lovie Smith?
I agreed with the firing of Schiano in week 5. That's
Yeah.
effectively how it was. That's how ugly this last season
Yeah,
was
it was
with Greg
pretty rough.
Schiano. The hiring of Lovie Smith, that really kind of surprised me. I don't know how to feel about the Lovie Smith hiring, actually. Is the team, definitely it'll give the team more of a defensive focus and everything like that, which is good considering the division they're in, having to play against the Saints offense and the Panthers offense. And the Falcons offense is typically good. But I'm not 100% sold on Lovie Smith's hiring yet. I guess I still kind of have the sore taste in my mouth on how he was run out of town in Chicago.
He didn't do bad in Chicago, though. He
got him to a Super Bowl. and
He was
everything.
10-6 the year they got fired.
I know.
And
then he still got fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of tricky. And then Schiano, when they hired Schiano, I thought it was a pretty cool hire because he did great at Rutgers and he was a hot college coach prospect. But he really didn't have control over that locker room, it seems, either, just like Schwartz. And, they brought in DeRoe, so you'd think, oh, that'll help things. But really, it was bad. Remember his first year, at the end of games when the other team was kneeling it, he would tell his players just to bull rush him.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then all the other coaches
Bull
weren't
rush the
too
Giants.
happy about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, now Lovie Smith is interesting. He's had a lot of winning seasons. He's gotten a team to the Super Bowl, never won a Super Bowl, but not every coach has. Not many have. But I think it could work. He got Leslie Frazier in as defensive coordinator.
Defensive
was a good
coordinator.
hire.
I think that was a great decision.
Mhm.
I just thought they would take more of an offensive-minded head coach, try to develop a little more offensively. Because the team, they spent all this money and got all these playmakers on defense, all these veteran guys, Revis, Goldson, those kind of guys. And they were trying to make a defensive identity and everything like that. But if you're going to bring in, especially later getting a guy like Leslie Frazier to guide that defense, I thought they would try to get someone who would help, especially when this team is kind of rebuilding right now. Try to get someone who would really help, the development of Mike Glennon.
I think they got Jeff Tedford from Cal. Cal's former coach. I always call him Jed Tedford, but that's not his name. They got Jeff Tedford from Cal, and he was a coach there for a while, and he coached Aaron Rodgers and a few other great quarterbacks. So I think that was a good pick. But do you think Glennon's their future at quarterback?
I think he showed a lot of promise this season. I think he showed a lot of promise. He was put in a really bad situation to start with, so it's kind of hard to tell. But I think it's possible. That being said, I just thought maybe they would have gone with kind of one of maybe a younger, less established guy who would have been a little cheaper because they are rebuilding. There aren't really plans, or there shouldn't really be plans to compete for a Super Bowl in Tampa for the next at least 2 seasons.
For me, I think it kind of comes back to the whole Lions situation. I think it was too soon to jump off the ship with Greg Schiano. I think it was more of a problem with the GM and with the players that they had brought in. So I agree with the GM firing. You know, bringing in Darrelle Revis, I just don't think. I think he's already reached his plateau. I think he reached his plateau a couple of years ago, and so I didn't think that was a great pickup. And you know, obviously the problems with Josh Freeman, although that wasn't really foreseeable. I think people were kind of seeing him as a pretty solid quarterback, and then you know, problems with the running back Doug Martin and things like that, and guys that just weren't producing. So I think it was more of a GM problem, and I think if you want to talk about as far as the locker room issues, I think that was, again, it was part of the issue with the GM. He's bringing in guys that were toxic to the locker room, like Darrelle Revis, who was just all about me, you know, and so but I do like the new hire, Lovie Smith. I think he was a guy that deserves another shot, just like Jim Caldwell. I think he was a good coach in Chicago, and he's going to bring some new experience to the Buccaneers and some good NFL experience where Greg Schiano didn't have any of that. And so I think Lovie Smith, it's gonna be a long road, like Josh. It's gonna be a while before they can expect to compete for a Super Bowl. But I think Lovie Smith is a good guy to help lead that, and Leslie Frazier as his defensive coordinator. There's a couple good coaches there that can help bring these young guys back and help develop them and bring the team back to where it should be.
All right, moving on to the Redskins firing of Shanahan, who went 24-40 in the regular season overall with his time there, 0-1 in the postseason. And the hiring they made was Jay Gruden, who was formerly a coach in the AFL, UFL, and a former Redskins coach.
I thought he was somewhere else too.
I think you're thinking John Gruden. It was John Gruden.
No,
and
no.
Jay Gruden.
Yeah, I know they're brothers.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
I'm not thinking John Gruden.
Are they brothers? I didn't know if they were.
Yeah, they are brothers.
And all I could find was Redskins. So.
Okay. I'm trying to remember who the Bengals offensive coordinator was. I can't remember.
Well, that's where he came from.
Yeah,
it was the Bengals.
He
Okay.
did come from the
So
Bengals.
former
Okay.
also the
He was
Bengals.
the.
I'm glad for Jay Gruden though, because he's been trying to get a head coaching job for a long
I think
time.
he was the offensive coordinator, and then Mike Zimmer was the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm happy for Jay Gruden though. This whole Shanahan thing, it just became toxic, man. He needed to go because basically when you're given a choice between RG3 and Shanahan, it was pretty obvious who was going to get the boot there, especially with Snyder's like somewhat inappropriate relationship with Griffin.
It all comes down to RG3, definitely.
Yeah, and honestly, the situation afterwards is just getting uglier and uglier. But Shanahan, he had to go, especially after this last season. I mean, it wasn't all his fault, most definitely. And Griffin really, really wanted to get back, and then he threw him out there, and then it all gets blamed on him. It's kind of funny how that happens. But he needed to go. The whole Jay Gruden hire. Here's the thing. Like, as a person, I'm actually gonna be like acting like a legitimate person that cares about people here, because on the show it doesn't happen all too often. Jay Gruden, I'm really happy he finally got this shot and everything like that. But this is a really ugly situation to come into. He's coming into a situation where if he has any sort of a rift whatsoever with the starting quarterback or the owner, he's toast. Because they're buddies. And effectively, if you have an issue with one, you're just gone from Washington right now. That's how ugly it is in that situation.
Yeah, RG3 is definitely the future of that franchise. You can't argue. Really,
They're
at least
all
for
in
now.
on him being the future of the
Yeah,
franchise.
they're definitely all in on that, and they did trade their next.
They go up,
three
was it the number 2
draft
pick
pick?
in this draft?
Yeah, they could have had
Yeah.
a top pick in this draft. So pretty much they invested. They invested in RG3, who's a great quarterback. He did come back a little too fast because he's just a competitor, but I think a whole offseason, maybe Gruden needs to definitely build that relationship. And then they have some great players. Alfred Morris, solid running back. He had a little sophomore slump, but he should be back
He
at
still
it.
was amongst the league leaders.
Yeah, so it wasn't a huge slump. And then Pierre Garçon, he had a pretty solid year. I think he had over 100 receptions, or at least close.
He was also among the league leaders.
Yeah, so they have the pieces on offense. Their defense is getting up there in age, but they could be right in the NFC East race again. It's not too
As open as the
far-fetched.
NFC East is, yeah.
It's not a far-fetched idea at all, I think.
What did you guys think of the decision to let RG3 help in the hiring of the new coach?
Okay, I get that the owner basically required this to an extent, But I don't like QBs having like personnel control. It gets a little iffy there because technically speaking, the QB is on the player, not just QB, player is under the coach. That's how it's supposed to be. But effectively in Washington, they're just flipping the whole thing. It's effectively standing right now, owner, RG3, executive position, like coaching and that kind of stuff, other players. And it's just sad, basically. It's
Well, after so many down years in Washington, RG3 pretty much was the savior from those because they picked up
Well,
all
to be
those.
fair, Morris had a huge season. Garcon had,
Yeah,
like all the pieces came together.
Yeah, so after all those years of bad signings, bad draft picks, they finally had a winning season, and now I think they're just really keen on the idea of keeping those guys together, and if that costs coaching jobs, I don't think Snyder really cares. I think he's obviously really cares about RG3. And he is a great quarterback, though, and he does have a promising future if he can limit the hits he takes. He takes some nasty hits.
He needs to get smarter.
Like Russell Wilson.
Smarter out
Russell
there.
Wilson avoids hits pretty well for a scrambling quarterback.
Did you guys ever see Vic back when he was with the Falcons?
Of course.
Remember all the hits he took? He would just like run into people.
He didn't
See him
care.
with the Eagles? No. not taking those hits.
He adapted, yeah.
You have to adapt to it. You have to find that way to stay healthy.
Definitely.
For me, I think Jay Gruden, I think he's a one-and-done coach. And I think the reason is he's getting put into such a toxic situation as far as with the owner and with a quarterback that's not completely healthy yet. Things like that. Older defense. I just think he's just getting set up to fail. And so, I'm happy that he got the job. I think he's deserving of the head coaching job. I think he's ready. But I think he's just getting put into a toxic situation, and I think this is going to be a Ralph Jasinski kind of a situation where they just jump ship after 1 year, and we're going to be left thinking, what was he supposed to do in 1 year? You gave him gave him the keys for 1 year. You didn't give him much time to kind of develop and get guys used to his coaching style and his playbook and things like that. So personally, I think Jay Gruden's a one-and-done coach, and that's unfortunate. But the Redskins got bigger problems to worry about before they can keep a coach or want guys to stay there and players to stay there. So I think they got to fix some of their front office problems first before they can depend on a coach to be there for a long term.
Anybody taking the Redskins job was coming into a situation where you're set up to fail.
Yeah, exactly.
I think everyone tried to get John Gruden out of retirement, but he just doesn't want to coach right now.
You know what? I read an article about the myth of John Gruden. He's not going to, but he's gonna eventually. Here's the funny thing about it. When he coached, here's the thing. He took Tampa Bay to a Super Bowl and won that Super Bowl. If you ignore that season, he was an average coach.
He made Oakland good.
Made Oakland good. Yeah.
That's pretty hard to do.
And then he went to Tampa
That's
and made
pretty hard to
Tampa
do.
good. So he did. And he knows what.
And
he
then
knows
he tailed
football.
off pretty quickly and got kicked out. He left under really bad circumstances, and honestly, he's overrated. He is.
Okay, moving on to Minnesota. Vikings fired Frazier, the replacement Mike Zimmer, formerly the assistant coach for the Cowboys and defensive coordinator for the Falcons and the Bengals. I believe this is his first head coaching position.
The Bengals
Tis.
assistants are popular.
Yeah.
Not a good year.
Well, yeah.
I'm cool with this all the way around. Actually, I'm pretty much okay with it. Frazier, it was just time. Basically, he's a good coach, but it really was time for him to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And Zimmer, I'm glad for him to get a shot. He's interesting because Zimmer is a little different than a lot of other coaches. He says what's on his mind. He doesn't really believe in the whole holding back thing. So this will be interesting.
Yeah.
But if there's a place to do that in, it's Minnesota. If you go out and try to do that in, let's see, if the coach if whoever gets hired, Houston got a coach. If the person in Houston was to go out and do that, it's a different thing because they're a higher franchise at this point. Yes, this season they were terrible.
So essentially, it's going to be like the new Ozzie Guillen for football.
Maybe.
It's a good-
Quite possibly,
It's a good
actually.
analogy.
Quite possibly. And if you're in kind of the fringes cities, you can get away with that to
Yeah.
an extent.
Well, the Vikings, they're building a new stadium, and they should get a new
With
quarterback.
a lot of controversy around the new
Yeah,
stadium.
they
but
should get a new quarterback in
they
this draft,
will
probably.
get a new
So
quarterback.
they're going to have a new stadium, new quarterback, new coach. It's kind of...
Hopefully not Johnny Manziel.
Just trying to start all
Completely
over.
starting over.
Basically, he's just trying to start all over and run away from the Chris Cluey stuff. Run away from all of our problems. It's like the Vikings. That's the Vikings motto.
What Chris Cluey is saying though, he's bringing up some. If it's true, like it's a lot of.
That's why they're trying to run away.
They're just like not
run away
even
from all of it.
responding, so they're leaving.
But yeah, I think it's definitely time for Leslie Frazier to go. I think he should have been probably gone last year. I mean, he's just had problems with, and it's not. I don't even know if it's necessarily his fault. He's a defensive-minded coach, but they just could not develop a quarterback and get a quarterback to succeed in that offense and in that system. And I know Adrian Peterson obviously had a great year last year and a pretty decent year this year, but and there's plenty of pieces there in Minnesota where you should be able to succeed. I mean, you got Adrian Peterson, you got a lot of young guys on defense that are doing well, that are going to become good players, and so I think with Mike Zimmer going there, I think he's going to make that defense pretty formidable there in the NFC North, and hopefully he can bring in a good offensive coordinator that'll draft a quarterback that he knows is going to succeed, and then he'll develop him. And unfortunately, though, I think I do think the Vikings will probably be fairly competitive in the next few years, and I think they're setting themselves up really well with Mike Zimmer. I think Mike Zimmer has got a lot of experience, and he'll do well there.
Yeah. It's one of the things with this league nowadays. Basically, if you are a coach and you don't have a really good quarterback to latch on to, you're not going to be the head coach very long. And that was an unfortunate thing with Frazier's tenure. He got stuck with Ponder.
And Castle and Freeman.
And Castle. Freeman, I don't think got enough of a shot.
He did. He got
one game.
And
He got one game. And Joe Webb and Favre. And he was good with
Favre.
Favre.
I mean,
he was good with Favre for a year.
The list goes on.
And then he went back to Ponder. He went to Ponder. So
they drafted him that next year.
Yeah.
They drafted him pretty high too.
11, 12,
11 or 12, something like that.
Yeah, they reached for him.
He was supposed to be taking like the second or third round. Yeah, he got
a little bit of a
high.
reach. Yeah.
But I mean, look at who he's around. I mean, Jake Locker hasn't anything special either, and he was drafted 10th before him. So I mean,
that draft as a whole was kind of
yeah. So I mean, you can't really blame him. I mean, he was just as good as some of the guys that were before him.
This year's draft's pretty stacked though. There's some
Could be.
there's
I'm
pretty
sure
stacked
we'll
at the
get
top.
Could be. Yeah.
We're going that later.
The quarterback
Yeah,
position
we'll
is
get
a
into
lot
that,
more stock
so-
than it was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit, but since the draft's not for a while, it's kind of on the back burner. To be
Alright.
fair,
Yeah, guys.
so.
Are we doing a draft for this year?
We're doing the draft for this year, of course we are.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah,
course
I get to
we
actually
are.
participate this year. Yeah.
Moving on to Tennessee, they fired Mike Munchak and they replaced him with Ken Wisenhunt, who was formerly with the Steelers, Cardinals, and Chargers. Again, he has not had a head coaching job as far as I
No,
have seen.
Cardinals. Cardinals. He took him to a Super Bowl.
Was
Yeah.
he? I thought he was useless.
Yeah.
I thought he was had one head
Yeah.
coaching job.
He took him to the Super Bowl in 2009.
To be fair, I wrote this in like
Nine.
15 minutes,
He-
so I
yeah.
wasn't reading
Yeah, I was gonna say
everything.
the Steelers.
He did a good
That's the
job with
Steelers.
Arizona. He did have Kurt Warner reemerge, and I don't know if that was his doing.
Oh yeah, he
but-
got zombie Kurt Warner to like just.
Yeah, they did
wreck
have
it.
Bolden and Fitzgerald and was it Andre Roberts? They had 3 guys with 1,000 yards one year. They had-
It was Bolden, Fitzgerald, and
was it Roberts?
no,
Or someone else?
Really Doucette, maybe.
Maybe Doucette.
Doucette, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, 3 guys with 1,000 yards is pretty impressive receiving. Well, they had a high potent offense, and that's why he was so hot, because he's been out of the head coaching job for a few years now, and he was a coordinator.
Like 2
And,
years.
a few,
It's a few
a
years.
few couple.
Come on now.
In
He's
San
the right
Diego.
one.
And-
It's fine.
And what he did in San Diego, I mean, was he the offensive?
Yes.
Yeah, he was.
And
the
Philip
offensive
Rivers
coordinator.
did pretty well these
Yeah, he had a
last
good
2
year.
He had a great year this year.
He was,
So,
he was
not
able
bad
to. He
either.
was actually able to fix some of Philip Rivers' problems.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm fine with the hiring of Wisenhunt, but I feel like Munchak shouldn't have been fired.
He was there a while, but yeah,
He was there
he
3 years.
wasn't
He was
doing
there
bad.
3 years, and the thing was, he was locked onto Locker for those 3 years. Locker, it was Locker,
Mhm.
and Hasselbeck for part of
Yeah,
it.
for a little
Hasselbeck
bit.
kind of intermixing. Basically, so he didn't have a great quarterback to lock onto, and finally this season, Locker was finally starting to turn around,
And he got hurt.
and then he got hurt.
Sad.
And then he was stuck with Fitzpatrick, okay? That's
Harvard.
not his fault. He's stuck with Fitzpatrick. He's stuck with Kenny Britt, who's basically a little child. And he's stuck with Chris Johnson, who's a massively paid child. Okay, he was not put in a great situation. It wasn't his fault, and the team still ended up 7-9.
It wasn't bad.
That's not bad.
He has been with the team a long time, like assistant wise and all that.
Yeah.
But
I think he earned another year.
and he was a candidate for Penn State's job, but he didn't get that. But they could have maybe kept him around a year, maybe if they get a. I don't know. I think they're gonna stick with Locker at least for now.
Well, they don't have a better option right now.
And they don't
Unless
have
they
too high of a
unless they
draft pick.
one.
Unless
They should be
traded.
drafting near the middle.
Yeah, unless they traded up.
The
Or,
7-9. Oh, there will be guys available.
Yeah, maybe
It sounds
Orals.
like they might make a run for AJ McCarron in the middle rounds.
I'm actually
is what it
I'm
sounds
pretty
like.
cool with that actually.
Yeah.
There's like 4 or 5 guys that could go in the first round of the draft. at
McCarron
quarterback this
leans a
year.
little game manager though. I think.
I don't have much problem with that. I really
I
don't.
mean, game manager isn't a negative connotation
Yeah.
either. You can have a
especially
game manager.
Alex
who leads
Smith
it.
has done more for the title of game
Oh, yeah.
manager.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you have the right running back, and Chris Johnson might test free agency this year.
Chris
we'll
Johnson.
He had a good year
We're
receiving.
getting a bit
Yeah.
off topic.
Yeah.
He's trying to prove himself.
Bit off topic. The Texans fired Gary Kubiak, and as Josh mentioned, this was not one of the Black Monday firings. Neither was the Munchak, if I remember.
No, Munchak was.
Was it?
No, it was after. It was
Gary
Oh, it
Kubiak
was
was
after.
It was
fired.
way late.
Gary Kubiak was early.
Yeah, he
couple
was early in
weeks,
the season.
couple
Munchak
weeks.
was after. I think he was like Thursday. or
Munchak was not
something.
even that long ago.
Oh yeah, because they had
Yeah.
a meet about it.
Mhm.
Right. So maybe the last two haven't been, and I've been saving the one that's undecided yet for the debate.
Yeah.
Gary Kubiak was fired well before Black Monday, and his replacement has just been announced because I think they had the assistant as the interim for the remainder of the
Wade
season.
Phillips. Yeah.
Wade Phillips.
Um,
Yeah.
And now the head coach is Bill O'Brien, who was the coach at Penn State for the past few seasons.
Yeah.
Well, Bill O'Brien did a great job at Penn State. He took one of the toughest coaching situations probably ever, and he turned that team around. They had 2 solid years. I think it was 8-4 and 7-5. So it's not a bad hire if he can translate it to NFL. He's always wanted to be
Yeah.
an NFL coach.
And he was a great. He was an offensive coordinator with the
With
Patriots.
the Patriots,
right?
Mhm.
He was great in that role. I personally would have liked to see Wade Phillips get the shot. I feel like he earned it there. But I mean, I'm okay with the hiring of O'Brien. I'm just curious to see how much of a leash he'll get.
Might get a new quarterback or
They
Clowney.
kinda need
That's
a new
the.
quarterback.
But they like
Yeah.
Clowney too, so it's kind of a tough situation there.
Yeah.
Clowney and Watt would be a good duo.
That's what they're saying. It's like, they need a quarterback, but how can you pass up on having the possibility of Clowney on one side and Watt on the other side? So it's like, are they going to take Clowney first and then maybe get a quarterback in the middle round? So
Great deduction, but we're talking about coaches. So, what do
We
you
are.
think about the coaches?
I don't know if Bill
Bill
O'Brien.
O'Reilly, Bill
Close
O'Brien.
enough.
Some
Close
Irish
enough.
guy.
I don't know if Bill O'Brien is quite ready for a head coach in the NFL. I think, and personally, I think he owed it to Penn State to stay a little bit longer. He signed a long-term deal and was really committed to them. And he had gotten offers last offseason to move to other places within the college ranks, and he decided to stay there. And then now he decides to change. I realize it's a head coaching job, so it's a big deal. But I just don't think he was quite ready. And personally, I think the Texans should have made a better run for Lovie Smith. I think he would have been a good fit there. But that being said, give Bill O'Brien the first round pick, and most likely we'll probably get a quarterback and let him run with that quarterback because he's a great quarterbacks coach. He coached Tom Brady in New England, and I think he could do well. I think their offense could be really well, and if they can find a defensive coordinator that can get their production back on defense and give J.J. Watt the chance to be great again, and I think they could take the Texans quite a ways.
Did you see that fact on ESPN? All 3 Texans coaches of all time have started with the first overall pick. Because Capers, they're the expansion team. They got KAOR, and then when Kubiak took over, that's when they got Mario Williams.
Oh yeah.
Now Brian, it's pretty interesting.
That's cool. Yeah.
That is a very interesting stat. So the final coach, since we've taken about 30 minutes on this one topic, the Browns fired Chudzinski, after 1 season, and the replacement has yet to be determined.
Yeah, here's the thing. Chudzinski didn't even get fired on Monday. He got fired Sunday night.
Yeah,
after the game.
he was the pregame for Black
That was
Monday.
that was incredible disrespect, and I was kind of ticked off at that.
I was mad too.
I strongly
liked it.
disagreed with it. He got 1 season with Brandon Whedon. Okay, Brandon
And
Whedon
he got injured
and
too.
Jason Campbell.
I was gonna say Whedon got injured.
What I really didn't like is what they said about it. They said why they fired him is they said they made a mistake in hiring him in the first place. That's not a very classy thing to say.
I think he was the right decision. I think he should have gotten at least 1 more season with an actually competent quarterback. You know, Hoyer coming back healthy.
And then they
That would actually
traded
been
traded
semi-confident.
Richardson, and then they went on that winning streak. But then
Yeah.
Hoyer got hurt, and then they fired their coach after Whedon and Campbell couldn't get the job done. I didn't really.
Yeah,
like
okay.
it.
Their defense didn't play especially great, partially on him. I'm still trying to figure out how Gordon managed to get so many receiving yards missing 2 games and
Yeah.
having the assortment of quarterbacks he did, but okay. Maybe because they had no running game, because they took their running back and traded him. Hey, shocking idea. And then they played Willis McGahee. Well, I'm just going to pause for a second and let that sink in there for a second. Yeah, that's effectively what they were stuck with. They got Hoyer for what, 2 games before he tore his ACL? Yeah.
He beat the Steelers.
I don't think. Yeah, Chudzinski did not get a fair shake in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Josh. I don't know what you wanted him to do. I know what more he could have done, and I think
Well,
it was a horrible firing, and I think he had to at least have 1 more year.
Cleveland's just
Cleveland's looking really dysfunctional right now, and they thought when they got the new ownership that it was going to be great. It was going to look better. Yeah, it's looking real good right
so
now.
not only pretty much have to draft a quarterback, they still have to find a coach, and their owner said they don't mind taking a lot of time to do that.
They don't just have to find a coach; they have to find a new offensive coordinator too, because Norv Turner's gone,
Sounds like they want Josh McDaniels to come in there.
and Josh McDaniels turned it down.
Did he?
He
Okay.
turned it down early, actually. He was like, "Yeah." So the whole head coaching job was there, but I decided I'd rather stay as a coordinator.
It's a tough job, Cleveland. It's not
Yeah,
an easy
he turned it
situation.
down, and Todd Boyles from the
Yeah, he just
Cardinals
announced that
turned
he
it down.
was disinterested today.
Yeah, a guy who
Yeah.
could not get a head coaching job turned down the Browns.
It's tough.
That's how sad.
I
the
mean, they have
situation
some
is.
stars. Gordon, Hayden on defense.
They got 2.
Period. Yeah,
Staley.
2 stars.
Staley?
You got the best.
No,
Yeah,
not Staley.
Thomas.
Thomas,
I'm
my
not-
bad.
3
I
stars.
kept trying to look for a list of the candidates they were still trying to interview, but I couldn't find
There's a lot-
a list
There's,
because there's so many.
there's a
of them.
lot of hype for Tressel right now.
Yeah,
and I'm laughing
I mean,
like
I've seen a lot of
crazy.
Kevin Sumlin and Ray Horton. As well,
There's also hype
and-
for Tressel as the Lions offensive coordinator.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And Haslam said the Browns are going to take their time. I think he just means that no one
No,
wants to go.
the Browns are going to take their time because no one wants to jump
go.
at it.
Yeah.
Well, I know one thing. Someone's staying. He's already announced that. So
And they're
that's all
also
rumor.
looking at the Broncos offensive coordinator Adam Gase.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. They're
So-
literally waiting on Adam Gase.
Yeah, basically.
And I don't think Gase has really given him an indication he'll take it. he's just going through the playoffs. And
He
everything
probably
like
will.
that,
He probably will.
It might depend on
but
Manning.
If
If
play,
Peyton leaves, he probably will take that job.
yeah, and that all depends on the physical at the end of the
Mhm.
season. Basically, Gase, the way it works with him is it's completely his decision. Because the Browns, if he I don't think he'll even have to interview. If he says, "Yeah, I'm
They've
slightly
already interviewed,
interested,"
I'm
they'll
pretty
jump
sure.
at him.
So
I
anyway,
don't think
who
he could.
would you like to see in Cleveland? All of you.
Right now, I'm kind of spiteful toward them, so I want a bad choice. You know what they
That's
could
too
do?
mature.
You know what they could do?
Gosh.
They could just go with Mike Shanahan or something, and just blow it all up. Drag Holmgren out of
Zane,
retirement.
how
I
about
don't
you?
know.
I don't know. I think their best option right now is to go for a college coach, a big time college coach, and take a chance because your reward is going to be a lot bigger payoff than if you take a chance on a coordinator in the NFL. I mean,
Do you have
that's been
anyone
proven in the
mind
past.
exactly, or just
Well, I mean, James Franklin's gone, so that's not an option. I don't know. It's hard to say. I guess no one comes to mind. Someone's staying. But I definitely think they need to look into some of those. Maybe in Stanford.
Shaw. I think Shaw is
yeah.
staying too, though.
they can try to get Mac
I'm
Brown
pretty sure he
since
said
he
he
was
was
forced
staying.
into retirement.
Yeah, Mac Brown. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there they could go after. It's just a matter of who's available and who
Wants to go.
really wants to go to the NFL.
Okay,
you know?
all right, James.
I
who do you
appreciate
wanna
how
see
their
there?
retirement was mutual
It was
decision.
forced
Mutual
retirement.
retirement.
James, who would you like to see? in
It's
Cleveland?
really hard to tell because who wants to go like Mike Sherman, maybe? Bring him out of. He was just
Yeah.
fired from the Dolphins. He's had experience, but really, there's no clear cut answer to this question because There's just no one out there that would be, oh, he's a good fit for Cleveland. A good fit for Cleveland is hard to find, as we've learned over the past 8 coaches or whatever.
Can I give a
Why are
legitimate
you
answer?
raising your hand?
Can I give a legitimate answer?
You have
I'd kind of like to see
15
Tressel.
seconds.
Tressel. Here's the thing,
He's an
though.
Ohio guy.
It could blow up incredibly terribly, but at least in the short term, it'll make the fans happy.
Yeah, he's Ohio State, Cleveland.
So it could be
Close.
terrible.
It's
decisions,
showing-
but you know,
it's a
it might
show of
work out
faith
towards-
to the
You know, we're gonna
fans.
take a short break because that topic took an extremely long amount of time. So we're gonna take a quick break, come back with playoffs because we're still not done with football, believe it or not, guys. So keep listening here to make your point.
Should we apply for the Cleveland head coach job?
What?
Should we apply for the job?
Yeah, do like a Craigslist, like the quarterback position for the Browns.
Poor Browns. Poor Cleveland in general. All
Oh, they
sports.
did this to themselves.
let's try to keep playoff talk short so we can actually get to college football. All right, guys.
Oh.
Can we do
Please.
that?
Oh.
He wants
Can we
to
do
talk
that?
football.
I'd like
Playoffs
to do
short.
that.
Okay.
Playoffs.
That means you, Josh.
What?
Keep it short.
We'll sum it all up in like 3 words.
My bad.
Yeah. Every game just one sentence.
It was a good game.
It was an okay game.
It was a
That
bad
was a
game.
game.
It was a bad
Isn't that
game.
basically what I say for like every game? It was okay.
It was okay.
You were like, how'd you like this game? It was
It was
okay.
okay.
It's just like every game.
I'm just like, you're an asshole.
Why do they have Manning in a 12 jersey?
They're talking about what would happen if they had traded
There we
places.
go.
Oh, that's Peyton. Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome back here to Make Your Point. I'm your host, Victoria Harmony. With me today, as usual, Josh Earl, and special guests, Zane Frederick and James Hagedorn, starting the semester off with 2 wonderful guests and a short show, which is looking like
Not so much.
absolutely right now is going to be all football.
Hopefully it's entertaining for the folks at home.
For those of you that like football,
Probably
For
not.
the fans.
you know, for the fans that are like our hockey fans, they're just like, what's this?
You know
We don't even
what?
know.
You'll get your...
We gotta
We're
get
gonna
Actually,
talk
they'll never
hockey.
get their
We're gonna
time.
talk hockey next week. I actually planned for hockey this week, so I was pushing back till next week.
We gotta get caught up.
Like you said, you'll
We're gonna
never
talk
get
hockey.
your.
Anyways, let's try to make this playoff talk
was
short
gonna say
because,
it'd be
as I
ESPN.
said, guys, I will mute every single one of you. All right,
That's a
So-
promise.
playoffs happened over this past month as well. Starting off with the wild card games, the Colts beat the Chiefs 45-44, the Saints beat the Eagles 26-24, the Chargers beat the Bengals 27-10, and the 49ers beat the Packers 23-20. A lot of these games had really close endings.
It was a great week for football right there.
It
The
was.
second week was kind of a dud, but the wild card weekend was great this year.
Yes.
Every game, well, mostly every game was to the wire, and you had a huge comeback by Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly every game except Chargers Bengals. That one was the least exciting.
That
of
was
all.
Dalton continuing to fail. in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
he had what?
And the
3
Bengals.
interceptions
Four.
and 2 fumbles?
That was 4.
Well, he
The
had,
four
he had a,
turnovers. He had
well,
4
he had 1
turnovers.
fumble.
Well,
He
the
had three-
Bengals in general.
3
continued.
interceptions and a fumble.
It's
Wild
mostly on
card.
Dalton though. He had like 7 picks and
Marvin
3
Lewis,
playoff
though,
games,
you
so
don't know. He's a good coach, Marvin Lewis, but he can only get them so far. It seems. I don't know.
The first round.
All right. So anyway, comments on any of those games.
I'll keep it short.
Thank
Colts
you.
and Chiefs was a great game, one of the best playoff games I've ever seen. Saints and Eagles didn't watch it,
I'm proud
but
of
good
you.
for the Saints. Chargers Bengals, it was wet and rainy, and Andy Dalton was horrible. That's basically it. 49ers Packers, it was horrible because the Packers choked. That's it.
Just go see your team lost.
So I didn't see
Packers.
San Francisco and Green Bay or the Chargers and Bengals. I was working pretty much that entire
The other
day.
2.
I watched the second half of the Colts Chiefs game, which is pretty much the exciting part.
Yeah, the second half was the
Really
good
good
part.
part.
I watched the first half and then I went because I wasn't at home. I watched the first half and I went home and just like we missed the
Yeah,
whole thing.
I watched the very beginning of it, and then we like went out and came back like an hour later and saw just when the second half was starting, and it was great.
I'm sure it was.
The Andrew
I saw
Luck,
Twitter.
the Andrew Luck off the helmet fumble dive. that was my play of the game. The Saints and Eagles game broke my heart. I watched the entire thing with a friend over and my mom, and it broke my heart.
Same for the Packers for
Yeah.
me. I'm just kind of accepting that the Niners are just a pretty solid team. Tough to
All
beat.
right.
Yeah,
Any other comments
it's like
on
they're in the
games?
championship game or something.
Any other comments on the other games for you? Because the other 2 went. Not
Fun,
you.
oh,
You went.
Oh, you had a
just
fun
went.
fact
Oh.
though. You had a fun fact.
that was not really fun. Fun
No.
fact.
Okay,
Okay.
so we're
It's like
done
general.
with that. We're going to go to the divisional
Oh, yeah.
games, which was the AFC. The Seahawks beat the Saints 23-15. The Patriots beat the Colts 43-22. We'll just talk AFC for the moment. Comments on those games.
I wasn't really able to see many of them. I was traveling, so from what I saw, researching them, I guess they weren't the most exciting games. But I thought the Chargers could have won that game. Actually, I was.
Well, that's NFC.
Oh, I thought you said we were talking AFC.
AFC, because I just said the AFC scores. Seahawks, Saints, Patriots, Colts.
Wait, no, Chargers are AFC.
Yeah, Seahawks Saints is NFC, dude.
Oh,
Ah,
okay.
Who needs
So
conferences?
obviously- Again, I
Professional
wrote this in
broadcaster.
15
Robo doesn't
minutes.
need
Shush. Okay, so sorry. Patriots,
That's
Colts, 43-22. Broncos, Chargers, 24-17.
everything pretty much went the way I thought it was at Patriots Colts. I thought the Colts would challenge the Patriots for that game, but other than that, everything was pretty normal, I guess.
Yeah, the Saints were kind of coming back. The Saints were scoreless until the fourth quarter against the Seahawks. And then they put up 15 points. They were starting to come back, and then it's just like, no. They're just not going to come back. The Colts were actually hanging in for a while, and then the Patriots just ran away. Like, literally ran away. Like, LeGarrette Blount,
Yeah.
73 yards.
Sure.
touchdown run.
4
Yeah, I
touchdowns.
watched that. That was
4 touchdown runs, yeah.
great.
What was the other game again? Oh, the Broncos and Chargers.
Mhm.
I don't know. I thought the Chargers kind of challenged them. I thought there would be a slight challenge like at first, and then the Broncos would just like run away with it. And it actually was relatively close. So it's like we really don't know what to expect out of the Chargers, but nevertheless, the Broncos were still going to win that game regardless. And the other, Carolina and San
Well,
Francisco.
we hadn't gone to the NFC yet.
Oh, well, we kind of had
Well, we
because you
kinda
mentioned
did.
the Seahawks
We
and
kind
Saints.
of did,
okay.
but we didn't. I said AFC.
I was
Did
trying to keep it
everybody,
short
did
by going
everybody
into-
go for
Okay.
AFC? Did everybody get their turn?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go around the table. NFC, as I said earlier, Seahawks versus Saints 23-15 and 49ers Panthers 23-10. Now you can talk about the Panthers.
I wanted
Super Cam.
I wanted the Panthers to win.
Make it
Super
short.
Cam.
Let's go. Get the hair email.
That was it. Yeah.
You wanted the Panthers to win. Okay, that's all you have. Zane, your turn.
I mean, that was pretty much it. Like I said, everything kind of went the way I expected. The Panthers just are not ready for the playoffs yet. They don't have enough experience.
Panthers defense is solid. They're looking good for the future. And the other game, was it Seattle beat New Orleans? Yeah, it was not much happened until the fourth.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle's a tough place to win in.
Indeed.
Okay, so last one, conference. The games that are happening Sunday.
Woo!
We are all caught up. We just did a month of sports. Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Challenger.
Oh, Patriots versus Broncos. What are you guys expecting from that?
High scoring.
You just want scores since you want
3-0.
short.
Well, neither team really plays defense. So what do
Who
you
do you
want?
think's gonna win? You don't have to give a score. This is for
who
the
do
next
I think's
section.
gonna win?
Mhm.
I still think Broncos. She's a gut feeling.
I had the Patriots.
I'm gonna go Broncos 35-31.
Oh, we do the scores.
If you want
Oh,
to.
man.
I just started that. What's
Uh,
up?
Zane just
What's
started
up?
playing.
Broncos 27-20.
I have Patriots 34-24. Brady just owns Manning's different in the playoffs than he is regular season.
That's true.
He's
That's
not
true.
as good.
Well, they're playing in Denver though.
Yeah.
aren't they?
I'll give him
That's a bit of an advantage.
All right.
All right.
49ers
It's
versus
cold.
Seahawks.
Ooh.
In
Who's gonna win?
Seattle.
I flip flopped
Yeah, it's in
on this
Seattle.
one. I had Seattle, but I'm going with the Niners now.
Because they beat the Packers.
34-31. No, I meant I had Seattle winning this, and then I thought about it, and Niners win 34-31. You know the last 3 NFC champions have won on the road in the NFC Championship game? So home field will help Seattle, but won't make the difference, I think.
Uh,
I think Seattle wins big. 41-21.
I'm going Seattle probably 22-12.
Yeah, I'm giving
Wow,
James
that's-
extra points.
Awkward.
Yeah,
Yeah, I picked against both of
I was
your
thinking math.
picks.
James gets extra points because he went for like the underdog both times. I don't know why.
Oh,
he just gets
okay.
extra
Oh,
points.
we're actually doing points? Oh my
I always
God.
do points.
Mentally.
Someone's gonna win.
Mentally,
It's like
always
a-
have
Yeah,
points.
it's all in here.
What are you, a
It's
rookie?
all in here.
Come on.
All right.
I just
so,
never win, so I don't know.
Since we just did that, let's go with actual predictions. Bold
Whoa.
predictions. Super Bowl predictions. Who's
It'll
gonna
be,
be in the
it'll
Super
be
Bowl?
cold. Who's going to be in it?
Zane.
Broncos, Seahawks. And I'm going to say Peyton gets his second Super Bowl. I won't give you a score, though. It's too far out. Gotta have my time to think. Gotta have time to think.
Wow. So we can get scores for Sunday,
It
but
might
not for
change.
February.
It might change.
All right.
Yeah, you know, Russell Wilson might like break an arm or something.
Josh.
Broncos, Seahawks. Seahawks win. I'm gonna go I actually don't think it'll even, I think that defense got clamped down. I think Seahawks over the
Well, see,
Broncos.
if you give a score, then Zane has to give a score. So we're not going to.
So I have to.
All right,
Okay.
James.
Okay.
Well, I have Niners Patriots, so I have the Niners
Ooh.
winning because the Niners every
Ooh.
year have got one game further. They lost in the NFC Championship game. Last year they lost in the Super Bowl, so right now they're kind of on pace to win a Super Bowl. And Harbaugh, great coach. Belichick, great coach. It'll be a good game, but
They got the experience.
I think the Niners can win that.
Yeah, over under on the odds. The lights go out again.
It's going to be snowing.
It's a
so
whiteout.
It'll be a
A lot of
whiteout.
people are
All
complaining.
right.
It's pretty interesting.
We're going to take another quick break and come back with college finally. So keep listening here on 91.1 Cat Radio. Thank you for that creepy KAOR, by the way.
Okay.
What'd you say?
Radio.
What'd you say?
So thanks for that creepy KAOR there at the end.
Gotta add
No
some
big
personality into this show here at the end.
Are you saying I have no personality?
Well, you just need my personality along with
Go
it.
ahead. Alright, so we're going to talk bowl season.
Oh, Turner is near an
All
offensive
the
coordinator deal
Bulls.
with the Vikings.
Yeah, they
Oh,
were
yeah.
talking about that yesterday too.
Pick your favorite bowl that you want to talk about. We'll talk about it.
BCS is great.
Chick-fil-A Bowl.
Chick-
Wait, we're not on here right now. What am I
We're
doing?
not on there. We're going to do this.
You just called it. You got dibs on that one.
Yeah,
That's fine. That was a good bowl.
it's my
I watched
team.
all that
It's my
one. I
team, bro.
know.
Yeah,
My
it
team
actually
almost
was a
beat you.
great game.
Duke almost won.
okay,
I was so proud.
I actually was gonna watch it. I watched part of
13
it,
seconds.
and then they were getting.
Did you
and
pick a
then they
bowl
were,
yet?
No.
Pick a
I'm
bowl,
looking
shut
it
up.
Because we're going on in 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
James, do you have one?
Picking that shit too.
No. Again, cop out. Orange Bowl, I guess.
And we're back here on air at
Why
91.1
can't I
Cat
find
Radio.
this
This is Make Your Points. I am Victoria Harmony, your host
You
for
are.
the show. With me is Josh Earl, James Hegedorn, and Zane Frederick. I was thinking
You were stumbling there?
I was thinking James
James Frederick,
Frederick, and
no.
I'm like, that's not right. That's
Yeah.
definitely not
That's
right.
still my name. I like my name.
It is a nice name. So,
Yeah.
anyways, we are back here finally for college. It is 3 to 6, and we're ending at about 6:30 if all goes well. So,
Oh, we're a great time.
I know it'll be a half hour to get through all of college football plus all of USD sports. Excitement. All right, so bowl season. We're gonna go through with the cast here and have everyone pick
Trying
their
to find
bowls
the
they
bowls.
want to talk about. So Zane already has his picks out.
You know it.
I know it.
You know it. I got Chick-fil-A Bowl, Aggies and Blue Devils. I mean, that was a great game. I was quite frustrated most of the game, but then Johnny being Johnny, had that great play. Probably, well, I don't know if you can put it ahead of the Alabama play where he, ran around about 50 yards and then threw it. But that was pretty cool when he jumped on his offensive lineman and pinballed back and threw for a touchdown. But yeah, I mean, that was a great way for Johnny to go out. Sad to see him go, but hopefully be the number one pick. I think it was the right time for him to leave. I mean, there's a big need for quarterbacks in this draft, so it just made the most sense for him, and he's ready to go. And it would have been great to see him stay and maybe try and win their division since McCarron's gone. But A&M's, they got a lot of great quarterbacks behind him too, and I don't know if we'll ever see one as good as Johnny, but definitely got some good quarterbacks behind him to fill a spot.
James,
I think he's still
go
looking,
ahead.
so I'll go.
Yeah, James, go ahead. I know you have one.
There were a lot of good ones, a lot of good BCS ones too. I'll go Orange Bowl. It was a great game to watch. I was able to watch at least most of the end of that game. Yeah, I watched.
For our listeners, tell us what the Orange Bowl
I
was.
watched the end of the Orange Bowl. It was Clemson, Ohio State.
So it's
It was Ohio State was trying to prove that maybe they weren't, or maybe they did belong in the championship, or maybe they're legitimate. But really, they played well. And Braxton Miller had he played very tough. He was getting nasty hits in that game, but he kept going. But in the end, Taj Boyd and company really controlled it. And it was a back and forth, fun game to watch, and eventually Clemson won. Very close game, but yeah, it was fun to watch.
Yeah, Braxton Miller, he got knocked out of the game at one point.
Yeah, he was getting hit.
plays.
Did you
I
find
saw,
one?
I saw one where he just got whacked right in the gut.
Did you find one?
I guess I can't really talk about it very much because I only watched part of a couple.
Well, then talk about the ones you watched.
that's pretty
Well, I
simple.
watched part of the BCS championship and the Orange
We're
Bowl.
gonna talk. Then talk about that
Oh.
one. James,
I
you
watched
took
part-
it.
Sorry, I didn't know.
Lord.
No, that's fine. I don't watch a
Good
whole lot of
job.
college football. My bad.
Of the BCS bowls, the one I was most impressed with, I think, was the Rose Bowl with Michigan State and Stanford.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think I
especially with
I
Michigan
called
State's
Stanford. to win that one.
linebacker going out with academic or whatever it was.
Max Bullock?
Yeah, where he was ineligible for the bowl game, and they still won by 4.
Yeah.
420. So, yeah.
I'm still slightly surprised Nebraska beat Georgia.
I
Just
am
a little
extremely.
bit.
I watched that entire
A
game and
little
I was
surprised.
surprised. the entire
Really? You
time.
watched that entire game? I
I
would have
did.
never guessed.
I watched
Would've
that
never
entire
guessed.
game.
And
I watched it with my parents even.
A&M and Duke was interesting to me too. I wanted to watch it, but I had to work that night. But I was like following.
I watched
I
that
was
whole
following.
game, too.
I was following it on my phone, and I was looking on Twitter, like tracking it, and it was like Duke is up, and it's like who's gonna win this game? And then it was like, oh, A&M is coming back.
You're darn
Yeah.
right.
Apparently not.
And Central Florida made a statement in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, I was really surprised about
Mhm.
They pulled away at the end.
that. Well, they were dominating the
I
entire
think
game.
Bortles
They
is
played
the
well.
Oklahoma over Alabama in the Sugar Bowl was interesting.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I watched that game
That
too.
was a
That
good
was
game,
a
I didn't
great
catch
game.
that one.
You missed a good one.
I did.
every BCS game was competitive though. It was
That-
good for the BCS going out.
Except for the Baylor.
Oh yeah, it was competitive. Then they
Essentially,
pulled
it was.
away.
Before the
It was a
national
shootout.
championship, I think they said that all the lower ranked teams won, except for
Oh,
the
yeah?
national championship. I think is what they said.
Hmm.
And speaking of the national championship, why don't we talk about that big game?
Segue.
Let's.
FSU coming out on top, 34-31 against Auburn. For those of you that
Crazy
live
game.
under a rock and don't know who played the national championship,
Live under a rock, Josh? That's
Yeah,
like Patrick Starr. Look at me, Patrick now.
no.
New nickname, Patrick. All right, Florida State Auburn. Let's talk about
That
that game.
still beats Skip Bayless.
all right.
You just took a shot at Skip Bayless.
All
No,
right, then.
they call me Skip Bayless, and I hate
There
it.
used to be his
Oh.
nickname.
I hate it.
Skip Bayless.
Does that make me Stephen A?
If you want
Or
to
is
be.
that you, Stephen
Do you really want to be
A?
Stephen A?
Yeah.
All right,
That's
so
cool.
Saints now Stephen A. Awesome.
Yes.
But we're getting off topic.
All right. Well, I will bring it back to topic then. It was a really enjoyable game. The last 3-4 minutes was back and forth. Where most of the rest of the game it was Florida State most of the time. So it made for a great ending and good for Jameis Winston to finish off his great season. With a perfect season and the Heisman and all that and overcoming all the accusations and all that kind of stuff. So it was great to see that and he was really appreciative of his teammates and all that kind of stuff afterwards. So that was really cool to see, and I'm happy for him. And we'll see what he can do next year. But Auburn still had a great year as well. Nobody expected them to be anywhere near where they got this year. They were, I believe, they were last in their division last year, and
They were
And,
3-9 last year.
yeah, but I think they won in the SEC though, did they?
Hmm?
I think they were like 0-7 or something
I
in
don't know
the
what they were
SEC.
in the SEC.
0-8 maybe, but yeah, I mean, they definitely had a dream season, and they're going to be successful for a long time now with Gus Malzahn, and I think they still got Nick Marshall for another year, if I'm right. I think he's a junior, or he was a
I think
junior this
so.
year.
Unless he declared. I know Trey Mason declared.
Yeah, Trey
Yeah,
Mason
that's a
declared.
big loss.
But yeah, I mean, they're gonna. This is gonna really help them with recruiting, and especially within their own state, trying to get those guys to come to Auburn instead of Alabama. And so all in all, I mean, both teams turned out to have great seasons, and going forward, they're gonna have next 2 years or so, they're gonna have great teams.
Slight note. Avoided the accusations for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
It felt like Davey said.
Regarding that game, here's the thing. Here's what happened with me. I remember laying on my bed watching this game. Okay, and I was watching it, and I was watching Monday Night Raw. Okay, and I was flipping
Boy.
back and forth between them. Don't judge me.
You were flipping between
I was
the
flipping
colors?
between them during the commercials.
What was
Okay.
your primary show? That's the important
The
question.
primary show at first was the game,
Okay.
and then FSU was beating the tar out of Auburn.
Yeah.
So
Vice
then
versa.
Raw became my only show
Understandable.
because I didn't want to watch a blowout,
Anyway,
and then it came
please,
back.
Please continue on.
I kind of wish I saw it because
Apparently, it was a really good game,
Yeah.
wasn't it? James, how about you?
Must have
thoughts
been
on
good
this?
Raw or WWE that day.
not really. 'Cause,
That wasn't even
it,
good.
it was old school Raw.
All right,
Oh,
It was a
Okay.
great game though. Like, Auburn pulled out to a huge advantage, and then Florida State clawed their way back. And then the final minutes were crazy. It was. I mean, it would have been cool to see Auburn win, but because I like underdogs. But Florida State, it was cool for them too. Winston, if he's innocent, he's still a freshman, Heisman winner, won a championship, very impressive start. And now they're going to be contending next year
Mm-hmm.
right off the bat, even though some of their guys declared already. But the state of
Yeah, but some
Alabama,
of them didn't declare. I think two of the
Yeah, some
defensive
say-
players that were supposed to declare didn't,
Mhm.
and that's going to be a big.
They got a big receiver back too.
yeah, and even though Auburn and Alabama both lost, the state of Alabama is just huge right now in college football. powerhouses, Malzahn and Saban, great coaches.
Mhm.
They're gonna be good for years to come.
What did you guys think of the reffing in the bowl game, the championship game?
Well, I mean, if I remember right, was it Auburn that had a lot of neutral zone fractions or something like that?
There's a lot of neutral zone infractions, and then there was a lot of
Oh,
from what I
unsportsmanlike.
noticed-
There was a lot of
yeah, the
unsportsmanlike conduct.
unsportsmanlike. I think there was 2 unsportsmanlike.
Well,
calls.
it almost cost Florida State the game at the end of the game when they
Yeah,
scored
it
that
did.
touchdown, and
And-
he was drawn towards the sideline. And they ended up having to kick it from like way back from the 15.
Instead of going for the 2-point conversion. Yeah, because
Yeah.
they were going to go for the 2-point, but then they had to go back.
Uh-huh.
But, I mean, I don't know if he said anything, but from what it looked like, he wasn't making any gestures. He was just walking.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, that was kind of iffy to me. And then the really big one that stood out to me was the no call horse collar at the very end of the game.
Oh yeah.
That was just like,
Uh-huh.
you can't just
On that
not-
big run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it would have gotten them basically to the 5,
Mhm.
essentially, because it would have been an automatic 15 first down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that one to me was the big thing that they didn't call. I mean, I know they got the first down because it was a big pass,
Uh-huh.
but, you know, an
Yeah.
extra 15 yards never hurts anyone. So, I mean, I don't know. The reffing
I mean,
to
I
me
thought,
was a
you
bit
know,
iffy. And I think for all the bowl games this year, the reffing was just a little iffy. I
Yeah.
don't know. But, I mean, that might have just been me.
well, I mean, for the unsportsmanlike conduct, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Mhm.
If a guy is taunting a sideline in any kind of way, especially after you score a touchdown, that you gotta control that. And
Right.
obviously neutral zone infractions are pretty blatant, but. So yeah, every game you watch, there's going to be a controversial call in some fashion, but I think overall, I think they did a good job, and I mean, most of the time we don't say, oh wow, they did great officiating, or it's usually either they did horrible or they did okay, So
I don't know. I don't watch a whole lot of college football, but what I do, I'm a little skeptical of just the reffing in general. Not just like in the bowl game, like just overall. I don't think they're especially great refs.
Well, you're supposed to get the cream of the crop for the bowl games, especially
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
national championship. So
Or-
that's why it was kind
do
of.
they have the same kind?
It was Big Ten.
Big
for
Ten?
the
Do they have the same
championship.
kind of grading system that the NFL does? The NFL, for example, for the
Uh-huh.
playoffs, you have to be in the top tier to
I think so.
get playoff
Yeah, because I
assignments.
think the better ones get the BCS games and such. But they changed it by division, so since it was like an SEC, ACC was the Big Ten refs,
Mhm.
and for the Rose Bowl it was SEC refs, and
Yeah.
for Chick-fil-A it was.
it's just
12.
any
Yeah.
division that's
That's not
They don't want
affiliated.
bias. I
They had
guess.
American.
Oh, okay.
They had American Conference guys in some games. Yeah, I mean it's just whoever, Mountain West, all that
Right,
kind of
but-
Yeah,
stuff.
but usually they start with the bigger conferences.
Yeah,
and
you always want the
games, and
BCS
go down.
conferences. Yeah.
I figured that the main goal is just trying to get the best refs, period. But
But you don't want any of the bias. So.
yeah.
All right, moving on. Malzahn is the Paul Bear Bryant Coach of the Year after leading a remarkable turnaround in his first season in charge of the Tigers, who went to the national title game a year after they went 3-9. That was a quote from ESPN. Do you agree with him being the Coach of the Year?
Yep.
There you go.
That's
Yes, perfect,
I
Zane.
mean, turn around. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of coaches that had great seasons. Obviously, Gus Malzahn, big turnaround there, but Art Briles and Baylor, just all kinds of guys. I mean,
The big coach.
Texas Tech with Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, someone did okay. I mean, didn't he get Coach of the Year last year? No, that was Saban last year, wasn't it?
I think Cliff would have been up for it if Tech didn't kind of collapse.
Yeah,
at the end.
Cliff Kingsbury, he had a great first season.
He did turn the program up.
Yeah, definitely. But Art Briles at Baylor and
Duke
David Shaw at Stanford. Yeah, David Cutcliffe at Duke. There was a lot of guys that had.
Yeah.
He did get some award. He got like the Manning Award or something. Cutcliffe did
Okay.
for some kind of coaching deal. But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of guys, and certainly Gus Malzahn's deserving that award.
Yeah, I would have been cool with the Duke Coke.
The
Duke
Duke
coach.
Duke Coach. All right.
Duke coach getting it. But no, I don't have much problem with Malzahn.
Okay, moving on to another coach, Texas. After Mac Brown retired, they had to fill the position, and they decided on Charlie Strong, who
Mhm.
was the coach at Louisville. Do you agree with this decision?
I do. Unfortunately, he's going to a team that I really dislike. But Charlie Strong is a great coach, and I mean, when you just begin to think about the possibilities they have now with recruiting, as far as getting in Texas now, competing with A&M in Texas, but Charlie Strong has roots in Florida. Those are two of the biggest recruiting states, and so the possibilities are endless for as far as recruiting. and he's bringing a great mind to the team and to the staff, and I think the players are going to really enjoy playing for him. He's a players type of coach. He's a big change from Mac Brown, obviously, and but he's been criticized a lot down there in the media for some reason. I guess
There's a few boosters that are really outspoken about disliking him.
It wasn't the guy that the boosters wanted, I guess, but I don't know how you can be upset with it. I mean, this guy's had success wherever he's been, whether it's Florida, Louisville. I mean, he was probably the best candidate. I mean, if you couldn't get, when they were talking about Jim Harbaugh coming out of the NFL, I mean, that'd be great if you could get him. But and John Gruden, those guys that were far fetched, though, great if you can get them. But as far as the guys that were relatively easy to get to move to Texas, and Travis Strong was probably the best one.
I think that if you guys turned them down, actually, they had a pretty high tier list. They had
John Gruden turned him down.
Yeah, they had Jimbo Fisher too on that list.
Yeah, he got
they had maybe Bryles on that list too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of people didn't want the pressure and the hype that goes around that job.
Well,
but Strong isn't a bad.
Plus, a lot of them had good jobs.
Art Browse has got a great job in Baylor.
Yeah.
Jimbo Fisher, obviously, a great job in Florida State.
It's like, why would he leave?
Yeah.
And Strong's a pretty good fit. He did well in Louisville, and some people say it's because they had an easy schedule, but he won the games they had to win.
And it's the time for him to leave with Bridgewater leaving, too. I mean, I guess not the time for him to leave, but it's a convenient time for him to leave.
Start over.
I mean, you should
start over. Yeah.
All right, Josh, your thoughts. Do you have thoughts?
Yeah, I do actually have thoughts.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm relatively okay with it. I'm not one of those guys like, yeah, this is a great hire. Because there were a lot of people like right afterwards that were like, yeah, he's great. He's a great coach. And all this kind of stuff. He's going to be huge for this program. I don't know. I'm not quite sold on that, especially at Louisville. I mean, they did very good in his time there. What was it, 4 years? 4 years.
In Louisville? 4 years, yeah.
Yeah, did very good there. But at the same time, kind of crumbling in some of the big spots, particularly in this last year.
Well, who would have you been really excited about if they hired?
I don't even know.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
I don't know. There weren't a whole lot of.
Obviously
there weren't a whole lot of sexy picks to go from this year.
Yeah.
Not really. Most of them had
sexy picks.
It's been a
while since I've heard
I should trademark that. There really weren't a whole lot of those kind of picks, so I guess it's okay to take him. But
and you never know how good they can be. You never know how.
I was surprised they went Strong, not with somebody with a bigger name, because I mean Charlie Strong, he has been successful.
He's a great coach,
but he's not
Texas kind of name.
He's not like a big name. Like, I'm not saying,
especially when they were like shooting for the
Tom
stars.
Osborne, someone that used to be like really successful. I'm not saying that just because he's from Nebraska. Like a Jimbo Fisher would have also been a huge name.
You figured if they were going to be like shooting for the stars on all these names, they were going to get at least one of those guys.
I figured somebody of a high caliber would want to go to Texas because it is a football.
Oh, and then Nick
That is
Saban.
one of the
I think
best
there was
places
more
to go
hype
for
to
football.
it though.
Well,
there was a ton of hype.
Nick
there's
Saban was hyped.
No.
But he didn't want to leave Alabama. That wouldn't.
No.
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
But I mean, I wasn't thinking even anybody like that's currently coaching. Someone that maybe retired that was a bigger name. I thought they would go for someone with the status, I guess. But that's just me.
I mean, the hype was very appropriate. I think this is the most attractive job in college football.
Right. No, I know.
I mean,
but
even if every college team had a vacancy, I think maybe Alabama and Texas would be about tied for the best job.
I would agree.
So I certainly think the hype was appropriate, but you definitely would have thought they would have gotten a big name. Like that probably would have been the job that you would think John Gruden would come out of retirement for, or maybe you would think Jim Harbaugh would want to go back to the college ranks for, because that's. I mean, Texas is even a bigger job than 49ers, probably, you could argue. I mean, if you're a college guy, and you dreamt of being a college coach for a big team like Alabama, Texas, Nebraska, whatever, that would be the one. And if he, who would you rather coach for, the Cleveland Browns or a big team in college?
Right.
It's not just because the NFL doesn't mean that's the better job.
Right, exactly.
Well, USC also had an opening too. That's a huge football school.
Yeah.
And they got Sarkisian from Washington.
I was surprised they didn't just keep Orgeron. I thought
he
they might.
did good.
I thought they might
he
give him
did
a
a
chance.
good job.
I really thought they were.
He was mad. I think he was pretty mad
Well,
they
I
didn't
think
get the
I would
job.
be mad too if I coached the team to a bowl game and then didn't get the job.
And they won, right? They beat
they
Fresno
won their bowl
State.
game.
It was a pretty solid team.
I thought they would stick with Orgeron, or I thought they would pull Del Rio eventually.
Anyway, we have 15 minutes, so let's get to Savannah State. Savannah State is wonderful. Savannah State
You're still
corner.
doing this?
We always do this.
You're still
We
doing
always
this?
do this.
I thought you would have gave this up.
So Savannah State women actually have a winning record now. They're 9-8.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
When was the last time we talked? Let's see, December.
I don't know, when did-
22nd, probably.
Last time I was on was really early.
Yeah, the last time you were on.
Well, I thought you were asking.
So they lost against Alabama State University and the University of South Carolina. Then they beat Troy, beat
Wow.
the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, which is a wonderful
Powerhouse.
Trinity
beat
Baptist
Trinity
College.
Baptist College, lost
Okay.
to Coppin State University.
Whoa, look at that score real quick. 106-33. Get out of here.
That's the game they won.
Oh
and
my
They
goodness.
won that. And women's score.
Wow,
Oh, they
that's
won
really
this
bad.
one. The Troy game was 93-84. These are women's scores.
Wow.
This is kind of
They can ball, man.
Yes, they
Wow.
have a singular
Six.
gender and sport that they're good at.
So what was that? And then Howard University,
Oh.
they won 65-49.
Think about it
They
for a second.
played-
Like, let that sink in for
Their
a second.
next game is the 18th, which is Saturday.
18th?
Yes,
Correct.
Saturday.
Yes, Saturday.
Saturday.
They play Bethune-Cookman, who is in the MEAC with them.
Oh,
So
the
it is
MEAC.
a conference matchup there.
Old Beth
So
Cook.
congrats. They
Oh,
are.
I'm sure they'll get hyped up for that, because they're not going to be hyped
You
up
know-
trying to
you
represent the
know-
school in a positive way in one way.
They're 2-1 in
One
their
way.
conference too, so the women's are just doing great right now. Congrats to the Lady Tigers. Let's look at the men's list. Men. The men are 5-12, but they're 3-0 in the conference. They are
Hey.
doing well in the conference.
Wow.
too.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let's see.
Florida National.
They did play some tough teams.
Look at
You want to focus on you?
December 19th.
I was trying to get you in there.
What?
December 19th
What?
ish. They lost to the University of Miami 51-68.
Mm. Geez, they played some tough teams, man.
Lost to Florida.
Really
They
did.
lost
Baylor,
to
Florida.
Baylor. They beat the University of Maryland Eastern Shore.
For all of you folks at home listening to this, in case you're really interested in Savannah State now, you can actually look this stuff up online.
They have a wonderful website actually.
Yeah.
They beat Coppin State University and they beat Howard.
They probably have a
University.
they probably have a better website for their athletics than we do.
You know, I really
It's
they
significantly
do.
easier
They
to
really
maneuver.
do. So that's how that's been there. Again, I would assume they'd be leading their conference with a 3-0 record in the conference.
Be
So
tied.
What's their overall
League's
record?
tied.
their overall record is 5-12, but in the conference they're 3-0.
And 3-2 at home.
So they're doing decent.
I wonder if their Twitter feed says, 3-0 in conference, #winning, just ignore the whole 5-12 thing.
Why not?
Just underplay.
I mean, if you
Yeah.
win the conference
That's what
tournament,
it is,
you're in the big dance. That's all you need to do, really.
Swear, dude, if they get into a big dance, we're never gonna stop talking about them.
I
They're
would
the
be
worst thing
excited.
ever.
Follow all
Yeah, I
their
know
players,
you will be.
I would be
their
excited.
stats. Have them as a dark horse of the champion.
You know how cool that would be?
Final Four, boss.
We should have done this at the beginning so we could like build up to something
Yeah.
exciting, and now we're just like declining.
Yeah.
You know, this
when
is
two
extremely
teams
exciting.
when two teams step on the court, both teams have an opportunity to win that game.
All right.
So,
It's
this
archived
isn't even
somewhere.
updated because it has Savannah State with only one win in the conference.
Maybe they just play doubleheader or something.
Oops.
Maybe they did, but Coppin State
Wait,
was
that's not. You
2-0.
can't do that.
Morgan State was 2-0. Hampton was 2-0. Norfolk State is 4-0 in the
What if they
conference.
just change their
Norfolk?
record on the website?
Norfolk.
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 All right, so USD. Women's basketball.
It's a real
Oh,
team right
yeah.
there.
The
USD.
real team, the Coyotes.
Yeah. That's a real sports program.
Right. So now the women are 9-7. They are 0-1 in the conference, and from about when we last left, which would have been.
Are they still 9-7?
They are 9-7.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
I
they're
just
playing
said this.
tonight though.
So yeah,
They
but,
are.
but we are getting there. So starting from about 19th, they won against the College of St. Mary. They lost to the University of Nebraska. They beat Valparaiso. They beat Cleveland State. They lost to Denver, 91-84.
And
What is
Denver
it with
was-
women's?
And Denver wasn't
balling.
very good. Denver was like 3-13, I think.
You're balling. That's all I can say.
Denver? It doesn't have that right.
Do you guys ever
This is
listen to like some of the
surprising.
schools that we beat and think that really doesn't sound like a university?
A little bit.
That sounds like a made up word.
Anyway,
Valparaiso.
but
Yeah.
91-84 again. That's really interesting for women's. So as Josh mentioned, we do play tonight in Indianapolis. They play the
UPUI.
University
Ayupi.
of IUPUI,
IUPUI.
Indianapolis University, Purdue University, Indianapolis.
I really want to call them Iapui.
The slang term around the station is ooey pooey, but that's just around the station. You're not supposed to say
I
that.
just remember that was.
Iapui.
I just remember that was the worst game to call when they're playing them because everything is IUPUI, or else you could say Jaguars.
Jags.
But when you're trying to
Jags.
when you're trying to get
So-
something in though, it's hard to stick IUPUI in there.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Tonight, going with Jaguars.
IUPUI.
I'm saying
Jaguars or
IUPUI
Jags.
every time.
They go by Jags as well.
Jags.
By the way, I'm not saying IUPUI of time. If I say IUPUI of time, I'm saying IUPUI.
And a basket for IUPUI.
You can't say Ooey Pooey on radio or I will take
Yeah,
it.
you cannot do that.
Anyway,
It's just-
not during the live
Abbreviations are
broadcast.
supposed to make it easier, but
Is this
during
not a
the
live broadcast?
Alright, I meant during the game. So men's.
Men's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
well, that's all my USD
Huzzah.
commentary. Go Yotes.
We had a game on Sunday.
Yes,
No,
we're gonna start.
Saturday.
Saturday.
We're gonna start,
Yeah. It was Saturday.
like in December if this opens ever.
They had a lot of close games.
Should have been prepared.
Alright, it opened. So starting about where we left off, say the 19th against Moorhead, we lost to Moorhead State 120 to 83.
They're a good team.
120 points.
They made it to the dance last couple of years.
They lost to Youngstown State, the Penguins, Fighting Penguins. And then they went on a 3-game win streak against Cal State Northridge, Iowa Wesleyan, and Denver. And Denver was slated to be third in the Summit League preseason, even though they can't compete in the Summit League because they're new this year.
What's the name of that guy that played at Morehead State? He's with the Nuggets now. Call me.
Oh, Fareed.
Reed, yeah, he went to Morehead State.
Fun fact with the Coyotes, like if you look at their win-loss record, it's really funny. It's like loss, win, loss,
Streaky.
loss.
Kind of like the football
They
team.
are
Streaky.
6-9 overall with a 1-0 record in the conference.
They had a lot of close losses though before.
Yeah,
the
that
blowouts.
one win
Before the
came
Morehead
on.
State
That
game.
one win came on Saturday, did not against Denver. Yes, which was a tight game. I was there. It was fun.
Congrats for being there. I'm so
You went to a
proud of you for
basketball
being
Yeah,
there.
I did. That was the
Aren't
first
you
one I
proud?
ever actually went to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I called one before I went to one.
And again, yes, the men play tonight against IUPUI. It is a home game. It's at 7 o'clock. We will be there on the call. You get to hear my lovely voice on radio even longer because I know you love that.
Yeah.
And my neutral voice, I guess.
My
We should win.
neutral voice.
We should win this game. So.
This
I have
is-
a deep voice, okay?
This is my deep voice.
That's my normal voice.
IUPUI was slated preseason to be the last team in the Summit League Conference.
And they're actually
Yeah.
5-14, 5-12, something like that.
They don't have
Yeah.
5 wins, do they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do.
I'm pretty sure they only have like 3.
Give me a second.
We have a lot of background.
I have notes.
I have notes on my laptop, so I can't get to them.
I will.
Anyway, thoughts,
Anyway.
comments on men's or women's basketball? Anyone want to toss anything out
They're,
there?
Yeah.
I mean, men's is a young team, but they've been playing
They're
pretty
not that
well.
young.
Well, they're not young. They're
Go
just
Yotes.
inexperienced together. Go Yotes. And they have an interim coach, so they don't really have a culture right now. So they're doing pretty well considering the circumstances. Go Yotes.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're definitely replacing Javal Miles. That was tough, and bringing in, a red shirt, or he was a red shirt last year with Adam Thosby and when he transferred, and things like that. But you do have some stability there with Brandon Boss and Trevor Groose and things like that. So they're going to conference play here. What are they, 3 games into conference play? I mean, so they got a chance to, and that's where you really have the most success in your program is by doing well in your conference and going to the conference tournament and winning conference championships. And that's
Yeah.
where you really build your success on. Nobody's going to be mad if you lose to Morehead State and all these other big time basketball schools. But
Well, it's not that we lost Morris State; it's that we lost 120 to 84.
well, no, I was just using that as an
That's a
example.
37-point loss.
I was just using that as an example.
Math
For fun math.
major.
No, that's 37 points.
But I mean, the point is that where you really make your success and where you really have the chance to win championships is by winning the conference. And that's where they can succeed at, and that's where I think that's where they will succeed. They're projected somewhere in the middle there.
I think
Well, women were projected third.
women were third.
Men are
and
somewhere
Men
there.
are lower.
Fifth.
Fifth, I think.
Yeah.
Unless
So,
you're
I
a
mean-
big time program, conference is
Yeah.
pretty important.
And I mean, SCSU losing Walters, there's a chance to win some games there. We beat them once last year here at home in a great
Yep,
game.
We
so
play them at home this season, too.
Home and away.
yeah, you always play them. Yeah.
It's always a home and away.
Brookings is a tough place to play. We've been up there and broadcast there, and it's, if you were listening to any of the games up there, you can tell it's loud, and it gets really loud there, and they have a great fan base, and so it's a tough place to play in. But like I said, they're losing some experience. They still got some of their main guys, just like we do. They got Dykstra and Heemstra, those kind of guys, and bring in some new freshmen. But I think this year more than last year, it's going to be even more competitive because of SSU losing their guy and
NDSU isn't bad.
NDSU, yeah. So I mean, it's gonna be a dogfight, but they're Joey James is doing a great job coaching them and doing as well as he can here in his first year. Kind of stepping in kind of late too in the process as head coach, but I think they'll do well. I think they'll fight it out pretty well in conference play.
I'm wondering why so many teams in our conference have so many more games than we do. It's kind of odd.
Because I think sometimes you play more your non-conference towards the beginning than towards the end. I guess.
No, like
Yeah,
games
but-
overall.
Yeah,
Like
but
like
still,
the
okay.
like
I mean,
IUPUI is
they
5
have,
and
like,
14.
They have 19 games,
So you've got
and
19
we only
games.
have like 15. And
Really?
looking at Omaha has 16 games. Fort Wayne has about 19 games.
That big.
16 games is really close. 19 is a bit of a gap.
I mean-
Basketball, it's all with the schedule. It's just how quickly you play the games.
Yeah, I mean
I
sometimes we'll
think-
play
Like,
2-3
we
games in a
play-
row.
we
Anyway,
play pretty
speaking
much
of
2
our
games a week right
conference,
now.
IPFW Fort Wayne is leading the conference with 2 wins in
Yeah.
conference play.
As a
They're 14-5.
USD is third, 1-0. And they are one of 3 teams that don't have a loss in the conference.
Yeah. Go Yotes. Hey.
Take it,
Undefeated.
take it,
Okay, that's fine.
just take it. Alright, so we'll end our conversations for the evening. We will have a final howl and
30 seconds
it went away.
after the break.
30 seconds. We'll have a break. No, just kidding. We'll
Uh,
have a howl. No, why is it?
Why do we need a
oh,
break?
it just looks weird.
Are you not taking a break?
No, I'm not taking a break.
You're waiting
why-
for the howl?
Why would we take
I
a
was
break?
loading the howl, but it
Get
doesn't
the
say,
howl.
it doesn't say howl on the thing. So
Well, we need the howl. There it is.
Zane wins. He gets. A
Yes, he does. So final howl. Was that fun?
Person.
All right, final howl. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just go with the easy one for me. I mean, like I already talked about, Johnny Manziel last year at A&M, but he left a great legacy and brought back our first Heisman Trophy since the 1950s, and unfortunately couldn't get a national championship or an SEC championship, but he really turned around that program and along with Kevin Sumlin, and he's going to be remembered as probably the greatest A&M player to play. So that's my final howl. Gig Maggie's Go Yotes.
Congratulations for having the final howl. I'm so proud of you.
I never get a final howl.
No, you never do.
Is he
Poor
is he
guy.
muted?
He is. You're the one on air.
Yeah.
All right. No, he's off there. Thanks for
Wouldn't
listening
matter.
once again to Make Your Point. We'll be back next week. I believe we should have a full show next week. If
No,
not,
there's
check
a home
the
game.
schedule. We will put that up on Facebook for you and let you know what all is going on. Next week will not be all football. We'll be
It's a home
catching up with baseball because things happen over break on baseball as well as basketball and hockey and college basketball action. We'll go a bit more in depth on that. So keep that in mind for next week. Keep listening to 91.1 KAOR Radio.
We missed the Hall of Fame. No. There's a home game next Thursday and Saturday again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of home games coming up.
Pretty much, I think 3 straight Thursdays actually. There's home games.
Thank you, Fierce.
So we're not gonna have a full show for a while unless we start early.
For
which
reals?
we could.
Why are my rings falling apart?
Hey, can we just start early? Or is there a show ahead of us? Like, can we just start at 4 some Thursday?
I have class until 3:15.
Okay, can we start at 4 someday?
Depends if I have the schedule or
Oh, wait.
done.
Stop. Is it even going? What the
Yeah,
balls
it
is
a-
this?
it's a new one.
So hit the stream first or record?
No, I haven't messed with
Holy
this
crap.
Not recording.
one. I don't know if I tried.
Probably stream. It's supposed to stream. No, record.
No, record. No.
Do I stop the broadcast or the
Move and let
record
me
first?
draw-
I was trying to get it done quicker so we could go.
Let me do it.
Oh, is your friend coming?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Might be a lot of people in there, but it's not that long of a drive.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate the weather right now.
Vic, just tell me broadcast or record. So there's 2 buttons. Which comes first?
Oh yeah, it was nice.
Oh, well. Thank you.
Well, the volume was down, but yeah.
Yeah. We'll pick up.
We're still going live because I'm waiting for instructions. Yeah. I feel tired.
Futzing around in here.
No,
Futzing around.
I'm getting things set up. You shush.
Futzing around.
I can't remember. Someday before the end of the semester, I'll get one more final howl. Maybe.
We'll have to give Nate something before he graduates.
So I'm just continuously fucked over. Is basically what you're saying.
Always.
Just repeatedly. Started when we were freshmen and still not fucking done. Yeah, get out the custom house.
Alright, we'll see you guys later. Yeah.
Thanks for coming on the show, Zan. What? Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.